All right, well, what I'm going to do this morning is demonstrate removing the roof section of an old Rivarossi passenger car from the body shell itself. Now, to do this, I find that there are a couple of clips in the center of the car, here and here. I slightly loosen these and push downward against them while holding the body in my hand. If you hold the car by the roof, of course, the weight is going to keep pushing up, and that's going to negate what you're trying to do here. So, there are also clips to be found on either side of the trucks, on each end of the car body. Let me come in a little bit here. You can see the clips. There we go. And there they are on the end as well. Now once these are loosened up a little bit with a screwdriver, I then turn my attention to the roof line itself, right here. Now what I'm going to do is simple. I'm going to insert a thin tool, in this case a thin spatula type modeling tool, in between the roof line and the body, and I'm going to work it in and lift up. And you heard that little click as the clips on the underside released. We do this on both the left and right side, and we lift. I'm going to slide the tool down the length of the roof, kind of giving a little twist as I go. Do this on both sides equally, like so. And this loosens the entire roof to where it can be lifted off the body shell. Now with that said, that exposes the seats on the inside. These are molded in one piece and can be removed, and if one is so inclined, these seats and the carpeting could all be painted individually. I personally do not have the patience to do that, so I'm not going to. What I do want to do with these cars eventually, the passenger cars, the coaches especially, is to put seated passengers. Probably the Prizer company. They make some of the best little figures you can get on the market. I'm going to glue them into the seats, and after that's done, it's a simple matter. You see the little holes here in the bottom of the seat section, and they match up to little pins in the bottom of the car body. Simple matter to put it back together. Just simply arrange that the pins come up through the holes. The other thing I'd like to do eventually is put a strip of LED lighting along the roof of the car. So that's the reason for taking one of these little beauties apart. And these are gorgeous little cars. To put them back together, simply put the roof in place and give a little squeeze. And the whole thing clicks back into place. Make sure the clips are tight, and you put them back in. And that's really all there is to it. There are other cars in the Riverossi line that are as well made and as detailed as the passenger coach. Now these come with the seats all installed already. This is the baggage car. Now the top comes off in the same way. All right, the top comes off in the same fashion. Now this has a little brake wheel which has come away. It has broken loose, and that will be glued in place at another time. But I just want to show that the roof can be removed from any of these cars in the same fashion. Again, the clips in the center Just push back and down a little bit with a screwdriver, just to loosen their grip just a bit. And again, I take my thin spatula-shaped modeling tool, get it under, or I should say in between, where the roof line meets the side of the car. Work it in and lift up. It's really that simple. I've been waiting for a while to figure out how to do this, and it was right in front of me the whole time. I just had to figure it out. And again, we slide the tool down to the other end and lift. Now, it's the exact same roof model, the exact same roof structure that was seen in the passenger car. Okay? Same thing. Big difference is the interior of the baggage car is completely empty. Now, that's not really a problem, because interiors can be furnished. If you look online, you will find HO scale interiors. Now there are different types. There are the heavyweights and the smooth sides. These cars are, of course, heavyweights. Now this is the interiors for a coach, but they have interiors for baggage cars as well, as can be seen in this little box that has not been checked here on the side. Okay, this is for a coach, and that's for another project. But you can put interiors into the baggage car as well. I guess the only reason they didn't include an interior in the baggage car is because it doesn't have a lot in the way of windows, or there were no seats or anything like that to be seen. Now to reassemble, you simply drop the top back in and press down, making sure that the clips are seated well into their slots. And with that, we've got a Rivarossi New York Central baggage car. Very cool. Next is another passenger car. This is from IHC, which is the International Hobby Corporation. I believe this also is a defunct company. These cars are no longer in production. I find my cars and things of this nature online on eBay. And lift this out. They're very well packed. As you can see, the clips have not been changed yet. These are still the clip type of the hook type of couplers, and these will be exchanged out for the Katy couplers. Removing these is quite simple. They are on a clip type situation that you simply pull out. Okay, but for now I'll just put that back in, clip it back in place. They come with grab irons, which you can install separately. Of course, these go here along the doors, where the steps meet the doors. Come on, focus in. There we go. These are where the grab irons, or railings, I should say, would be attached. Removing the top of the IHC or the AMH passenger cars is the same. These are probably out of the same molds in casting as Riverossi were. Again, loosen the clips and push in a little bit. And we flip it over. Once the clips are loosened, we go in with a thin bladed tool. Simply lift. A little twist. and we'll lift. Twist and lift. Well, I think the clips are probably hanging on a little tight, so let me get down in here and loosen up these clips a bit. The whole trick is to loosen the clips. Once the clips are loosened, the tops come up rather, well, this is a toughie. There we are. Not quite. All right, let's loosen up these clips a little more. There we go. Here we are. Here we are. And again, like with the Rivarossi, we go down the side, loosening it as we go. All the way down to the end. Working the clips free as we go. What I'm doing right now is I'm having the skin of my thumb and forefinger is kind of being bit by the roof line a little bit to hold it up while I go along and loosen the clips on the bottom, on the underside here. And just a little tight. There we go. Like so. And we get to the end and do this end again. There we are. Loosen up. Oh, this is a little toughie. All right, there we are. Here we go. We're cooking now. We're cooking now. And voila. Voila, they say in France. Off comes the top. Again, this can be lined with a strip of LED lighting. And we have an empty car body. Now for that, I pull out this interior kit, the set of instructions for assembly. And yes, there is some assembly required in this. Ooh, these seats are sort of a reddish brown. But again, the same principle applies. You've got holes that match up to pegs in the bottom of the car. And to put this in, you simply, okay, it goes in a certain way. There we go. Now it's pretty well lined up and set in the interior. Now we have interior seats in this car. Okay? Interior seats in the car. Aside from seats, there are also some end compartments that need to be assembled. What we have in this end, these are the washrooms, the restrooms, and these little buggers right here are the toilets. Now these could be painted. I would paint these white, probably in a little enamel white. What we have to divide that up is a set of walls. And according to the instructions, that of course, part one is the floor. These are the vestibule walls. And these are to be added to the ends, like so. Then you have the washroom walls, which are here, and this is the door. And these are lockers. This is a set of this is a locker, which goes on the other, one of the other ends. Obviously, it goes on the end opposite the end that contains the toilets. These all need to be glued together and then cemented into the interior. And when it's done, You then have an interior to match the type of interior that's already preset into the Rivarossi. But your little IHC coaches can have the same kind of detail. Again, the main thing is to make sure that everything is pressed snug, tight, that the clips are nice and tight, that there's no gaps along the roof. And now we have this is a sleeper. Okay, this one is not a coach. This is a sleeper. That's why there are seats on one end, and it's divided the way it is on the other side. Those are the longer seats that would fold out, or that could be, people could lay across to sleep. This is a sleeper. I do have a passenger coach, a day coach, but this car right here is a sleeper. What's nice about these, they have a little decal on them that many of us who lived in New York are familiar with, and that is the Dashing Dan commuter. A Dashing Dan is simply a passenger rushing to catch his train. But it's something that all of us from Long Island and New York, it's a character that we're all familiar with. There he is, little Dashing Dan. Very cool. So, there we have a couple of models of passenger cars that require some disassembly and assembly, as well as disassembly and reassembly. Probably next time we see either one of these cars, the Long Island car will have his interior completed, and I will be inserting passengers and LED lightings in both the Long Island Railroad car and the old New York Central Heavyweight. And that'll be the next project. So until then, toodaloo.